first class, as per your request. दोपहर में मत रखो करके. And
Yes,
also
sir.
we are figuring out afternoon class क्या करे करके देखते हैं क्या होता है. Okay, because as you said, you are sleepy after 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock to be. So we'll see. Okay, 26. Okay, sufficient. I want people who are very serious to join today. Okay, so let's begin. Some pre-record. Okay, today, just a second. Yeah. So today is the last lecture of this, and today we'll study just the future of banking. What are the recommendations from 1990 again, 1991, with the economic reforms was done, and a bit of about this banking technology. That's it. Okay, it will not take much time. Then after that, I'll revise it, and I need to explain you again. I'll explain you again what we did in the last lecture because that was very important, and many of you couldn't get it exactly. Okay, so let's begin. How many are there? There are 34. Okay. Chalo, let's begin with this. This is about banking sector reforms. Okay, as we have studied in the last semester about the economic reforms of 1991. So during that time, many reforms were carried out in many of the sectors. So banking sector was not left because banking is the backbone of the economy. Okay, banking sector. So banking sector reforms was there, and there was a committee set up by Narsimha Committee. So PV Narasimha Rao was the Prime Minister of India at that time, but this is not on his name. There was another person, V. Narasimha. He was the ex-governor of RBI. Okay, under his control, this committee was set up, and this committee recommended all these things. Okay, in order to regulate the banking system, in order to in order that the economy should grow with the banking system. Okay, and banks play a very important role in this. So the first recommendation was to establish a 4-tier hierarchy. That means this committee hierarchy for the banking sector. So this committee said that there should be a category of banks. Okay, those 4 category are like 4 to 5 large commercial banks will be set up. Those who have international character. That means those 4 to 5 banks will be such big banks that they will transact with the foreign banks as well for the foreign exchange, for the transfer of currency, for many other foreign transactions. And if FDI is coming through or something, anything which is related to foreign transactions, there will be 4 to 5 major banks will be set up in this 4th tier, in the first type. And the second type of bank, they recommended that national banks will have nationwide branches. Okay, in each and every district, in each and every in each and every city, there will be a bank. Okay, its branches. So 8 to 10 banks will be set up, which will have their branches in each and every city. And third, they recommended that small banks will be set up who will be confined to a specific region. So a particular region will be there. That bank will take care of all the activities of that region. For example, for deposits and loans, that is there. But on top of it, they will be even looking for the payment of bills or even any additional help. Microfinance will be there or anything like that. Only for that region. Okay, only for maybe Belgaum city, there will one bank will be set up, and that bank will take care of all the banking activities, all the money related activities of that region. It will be a kind of a universal bank for that region. Okay, it was that at that time. Today the scenario has been a bit changed. Okay, and next they recommended was rural banks. Okay, in each and every village there should be a bank who will take the deposits of the farmers and use it for their and also give loans to the farmer for agricultural loan as well. So this was the 4-tier hierarchy which I talked about. So in four-tier hierarchy, there were first category was to establish banks who will have a international character. Next was to establish banks which the branches will be there throughout India. Another was the establishment of a bank which will be confined to a specific area. They will cater to all the needs of those people who are living in those areas. And lastly, the establishment of rural banks. Okay, this is the four-tier hierarchy they recommended. Then they recommended the abolishing of branch licensing. Initially, bank used to take permission from RBI, and it used to go through various procedures to only establish or to only open up a branch. So they abolished the bank licensing system. So any bank can open any branch. It doesn't require much permission from RBI or anything. Okay, so they abolished this. It was called as a license Raj, if you remember. Okay. Then entry of private banks were encouraged. So by this, ICICI was the one of the first private banks entered into this market, entered into the banking industry after 1991. Then allowing nationalized banks. So this nationalized banks were there in India, uh, but they were not allowed to issue fresh capital to the public. That means they were not allowed to list their bank on the stock exchange. So nationalized bank like this, what do you say, Federal Bank and the Indian Overseas Bank, these banks were given permission to what do you say, issue fresh capital and get listed on the stock exchanges, on the NSE and BSE. So this was allowed. And then a phased reduction of statutory liquidity ratio. Okay, SLR, you know what is it? SLR was very high during that time. It was somewhere around 35 to 40%. Okay, so out of that deposited amount which the bank has of the customers, 40% was put into SLR. Okay, and also CRR was very high at that time. It was somewhere around 15 or 20%. So 15%, 20% if we take, so 40% in SLR, 20% in CRR. So how much the bank is left with? Only 40% of the money deposited. So from 40%, bank used to do the business. So bank were not getting much profit. So CRR and SLR were reduced. Gradually it reduced. SLR was somewhere 35 to 40%, and slowly it reduced to 21%, as we have seen in the last class. SLR and CRR was somewhere 15 to 20%, and now CRR we have seen it was around 3.1, 3.5% somewhere. So that bank will have more liquidity and they can do their business and earn profit more. Then phasing out direct credit to priority sector. Okay, there were some sectors where given a priority and those sectors were being promoted and credit was given to those sectors. And deregulation of interest rates. Okay, the interest rates were deregulated. They were only, and now each and every bank have some or the other variations in the interest rate. Some bank will offer maybe 12% on home loans. Some bank will offer 14%, 15% like that. So there is a range, but it is deregulated. Then tightening of prudential norms. Okay, the norms which were given by the RBI, some of them were not followed somewhere. So there was tightening of it. An issue of prudential guidelines, additional guidelines were given. Then classification of assets, which are the non-performing assets, which are the performing assets. Exactly. What is the financial strength of that bank can easily be determined if we classify these assets. Then increase competition in lending. Okay, it is still there. Then setting up of an institution to be called as asset reconstruction fund. Okay, they set up an institution. If the bank is about to get bankrupt or it is not performing good, then in order that their loan portfolio should be restructured. The loan, what is the loan portfolio the bank is holding, that will be segregated as bad loans or doubtful loans. These are non-performing loans. The people will not give back the borrowed amount to the bank, or the people have left or they have ran away or something like that. So what is the exact situation is there? Accordingly, the asset reconstruction fund will be established, and it will help the bank in recovery. So this is the important important part of this lecture. That's it. Then this generally comes for 10 marks question. Okay, what were the Narsimha committee recommendations? Okay, from this module. Okay, from this module, qualitative measures and Narsimha committee is kind of important for this. Okay, any doubts in this? This is not that difficult to understand. It is a theoretical thing, and you can read it and understand also. And read it. Rattamargabi, you can write it in the exam. But just remember some of the points in this. Okay, this is the most important point. Okay, the establishment of 4 hierarchy of banking sector. So the banking sector was totally divided into 4 hierarchy or 4 types. Okay, first type was of banks was of international character. Next was the bank which will have branches throughout the country. Next was the bank which was confined to an area and which will take care of all the transaction of that area. And fourth was the establishment of rural banks, RRBs, regional rural banks. Okay, and then these were the things. Okay, I'll move to next one. Okay, bank's performance analysis. Okay, many of you might be doing a project report or your 4th semester project in banks. So you will be doing some financial performance or loan portfolio in that. Okay, so what is this financial performance is? We will analyze the bank's financial strength as we analyze the company's financial strength. How we analyze company is good or bad according to the financial position of that company, or how we do it, we use the balance sheet and profit and loss statement. And to know the cash strength, we do the cash flow analysis. So similarly in banks, we do the financial performance analysis. So in financial performance, definitely we go and calculate the ratios. Okay, so generally in bank, current ratio, quick ratio, or is not that important. The most important is the return on assets. The bank has given loans to the public, and what is the frequency of those loans coming back to the bank. Okay, and so what is the return on those loans, and if bank has invested something, then what is the return on that asset which they are getting. So return on assets, return on equity, then what is the efficiency of these banks that has been dealt in this financial performance. So basically here, even here, we will calculate the ratios, return on asset ratio or liquidity, this return on equity ratio, or the non-performing ratio also we calculate. What is the percentage of loan we have given and what is the percentage of NPAs it has created. Okay, NPAs, again, if you don't understand, you can ask me anytime. I'll explain you. Okay, I'll not go on telling this. And second is loan portfolio. Loan portfolio is what do you mean by portfolio exactly? Portfolio is the kind of a basket wherein you have things in it. Okay, so what are those things? In this case, loan portfolios. So it is a basket of loans wherein you have different kinds of loans in your basket. And who is having this basket? The bank. So bank has given loans, different kinds of loan to different kind of people with a different kind of recovery, and different kind of interest, different kind of EMI, and different kind of term. So somewhere pay in 10 years, somewhere some people will pay within 5 years, some people will pay within 20 years. Some have given are given home loan, car loan, education loan, agriculture loan. So there is a different kind of portfolios, different kinds of loans in the basket. So that is a loan portfolio. And how this portfolio together is performing, that we will calculate. That means which kind of loan is good for the bank, whether home loans and agricultural loan are good, or student loan or agricultural loan, or student loan, agricultural loan, car loan. These three are good. No NPAs are there from these. Okay, people are paying back this, or which kind of loan is not good, or all those things we will analyze in bank's performance analysis. Okay, you don't have to analyze it, you just need to write the theory in this. Okay, so that is the loan portfolio. Okay, for example, in investment management also, you will be studying what is a portfolio. of an investor. So wherever that investor has invested the amount, what kind of equity, if he has bought, what kind of companies he has invested in, if he has bought debt securities, which kind of bonds are there with him. So in debt market or money market or in equity market, where he has invested, wherever he has invested, the entire portfolio of his is the investor's portfolio. So similarly, we will be having a loan portfolio from the point of view of bank. Okay. Next is capital adequacy. Okay, capital adequacy is again very important, because once the depositors are coming in to withdraw their deposits, the bank should have enough money to give them. Bank should not run to every time to run to call money market, or it should not run to other banks to borrow money. Okay, depositors are coming in, we want to give them deposits. Sometimes I have seen that in front of a bank branch, it was said, okay, any withdrawal about 2 lakhs, you need to give 2 months notice, like that. Yeah, students, 1 minute. Yeah, okay. Okay, then next is gap analysis. In gap analysis, okay, any doubts till now? I'm talking to myself or you're listening to me?
Yes, sir.
Listening to
Okay, cool. So next is gap analysis. Yeah, okay, for gap analysis, I need paint. Okay, gap analysis is the gap between the interest rates from the depositors to the depositors and from the borrowers. Okay, it is something like this. Okay, okay, bank is having 100 crores rupee, 100 crores of deposits, all the deposits. From this, bank has kept some CRR and SLR as 25 crores. Okay, so that is went, that is gone. Now bank is left with 75 crores. So from this 75 crores, bank is giving loans. Okay, suppose bank is giving out of 75 crores, 50 crores as loans, different kinds of loans, car, home loans, also. So out of these 50 crore loans, if we do an average, maybe after 10 years, when the people will pay back all this amount to the bank. So out of these 50 crores, after 10 years, bank might be getting 55 crores. Okay, so somewhere around a 10% interest rate on an average. Okay, so this is what the income of bank, 5 crores. Okay, now after 10 years, now 100 crores are the deposits. Okay, so these many, the customers are there who have deposited 100 crores. So bank need to give interest to them as well, 100 crores. Customers will not think 25 crores you have kept for SLR. They will not think like that. Okay, there are 100 crore deposits from the customers. So bank need to give, what do you say, the interest for their savings or fixed deposits or any deposits, any kind of deposits. Okay, from this 100 crores. So suppose bank is giving them maybe, yeah, 4%. Okay, 4%, including everything. I have just taken an average. Okay, 4%. So maybe after 10 years, again, if I'm considering, okay, just to make it simple. So in 10 years, how much is the, what do you say, the total amount the bank should generate in order to give them? It will be 4%, 104 crores. 100 crores, I'm adding 4% of 100 crores to this. So 104 crores after 10 years. And 10%, okay, it is charging interest on 50 crore loans. So it is getting 55 crores. And suppose the remaining 25 crores are there. So 25 crores, they have invested somewhere. Okay, how much we are short of? एक second, इसको 5 कर देते हैं. So 55 and 5, again 50 crores. So banks should get somewhat 50 plus 55 crores in order to only do the break even. Okay, you got this or any confusion? नहीं, ठीक है, I'll explain. See, 100 crores the bank has deposited the amount. From that, 25 crores went to SLR and CRR. Remaining is 75 crores with the bank to do the business. So from that 75 crores, bank has given loan of 50 crores to the customers at 10% interest rate, and customer will pay back those loans after 10 years, which that the bank will get as 55 crores. And bank also needs to pay these depositors of 100 crores 5% interest rate, and after maybe 10 years, okay, I'm just using simple interest, okay, to simplify this. So after 10 years, and they need to have 105 crores to give back all the money to the depositors if all the money, if all the depositors comes together to withdraw their money. So 105 crore bank needs to have after 10 years. So out of 75, 50 became 55. So this 25 bank need to invest somewhere to make it to 50 crores, so that at least it reaches break even. 50 plus 55 is 105. So this is so there is no gap in this. 5% is my outgoing, 10%, and this is actually double हो रहा है, that means 100%. ठीक है, so okay. So bank needs to do an analysis that whatever interest I'm earning, okay, and whatever interest I'm giving, the difference between that should be there in order to get bank as the profit. Here in this case, 105 the bank is getting, okay, and 105 bank needs to give. So there is no gap. Bank is not getting any profit. So bank needs to analyze the gap, whether the interest which we are receiving from the customers, from the borrowers, is more, and whatever the interest we are giving to the depositors is less. So that difference or that gap will be the profit for bank. So this is what is being done in the gap analysis. Okay, if you don't understood this example, just remember in gap analysis, there are two things to be analyzed. What is the gap between the interest the bank is paying to the depositors minus the interest which the bank is getting from the borrowers? So this is what is done in gap analysis. Okay, so this is what the bank's performance analysis. Doubts I'll clear later on. I'll do this. Banking industry analysis. Okay, very straightforward and very simple. Okay, banking industry analysis. Any industry analysis, how you do? Okay, again in investment management, you might have studied or you will be studying EIC model. Okay, EIC. EIC model. Okay, it stands for economy. E for economy, I for industry, and C for company. So anywhere if you want to invest in a company, first you will do the analysis of economy, then industry, and then company. So if any bank you need to analyze, okay, any bank which is a company, you need to analyze industry as well after the economy. So for analyzing the industry, first of all, the robust economy, how the economy of the country is, whether the country is growing, whether the country is in the slump, in the recession, or where it is. Then what is the population structure of that country, whether young population are more, earning population are more, or age old population are more. Like in many European countries, the country is aging, they say. That means country is not aging, the population of that country is more towards the more than 50 or more than 60. So that is not the earning population they consider. So they say the Europe is aging, but India and Asia for that matter is the have more young population than the old population. So the young population is the earning population. They will earn, they will do business, they will do jobs, they will use the banking facility much more for credit and debit, both the things. So how is the population? They analyze. Then operational efficiency. Operational efficiency will be just that how the technology has been came in and how the efficiency of people have increased, how the knowledge have increased, how the education level have increased. So because of that, the operational efficiency in the banks have increased. Okay, with the help of technology as well. And next is digitization. Okay, very well. The banking system has totally digitized. Okay, you are paying fees through Google Pay, Phone Pay. So no going to bank and depositing, withdrawing money, coming to a place and paying the money and getting the receipt. Okay, still that is there, but digitization has reduced all those people who are involved in the process. Okay, even a bank, if you go to a branch, they will not be having for more than 5 to 6 members in the bank working. Okay, but and you don't find a huge line in banks, and definitely in the private banks you will not find many customers. 2 to 3 customers. Customers will be less than the staff of the bank. Okay, because of this digitization. Okay, so this was the banking industry analysis. In how the industry works, we will analyze this. Okay, this frankly never came in the exam. Okay, but it's there in the syllabus. Then recent developments in banking sector again never came in exam, but you can write this if it comes on your own. You just need to remember these points. Electronic checks are there. Okay, okay. About the checks, whenever you write a check, okay, about the checks, whenever you write a check, okay, and you give it to someone, that physical check will be given to him. Then that person will go to a bank and deposit that check in his account. Then the bank will give him cash or whatever the check clearance in the process is there. Okay, or the money will be deposited in his account. Okay, whatever it is, the check will be converted into electronic form, and that check, that physical check, will be kept aside. Okay, it will be saved aside, and only the electronic form of that check will be circulated within the banks. So the physical check will be only transferred from one person to another to the bank, and once it goes to the bank, it remains with that bank, and it will be converted into electronic form, and it will be circulated. There are two things in these. I guess it is there in a later part of the syllabus, but there is a magnetic strip in that, an MICR code which is there. A 6-digit code is there in the. Okay, we'll do it at that time itself. 6-digit code is there in the check. So you scan that code or you use image processing and convert it into electronic checks. So that is the thing. You might not be aware of it. Then the next things of fund transfers using NEFT, RTGS, and now IMPS has been came immediate payment service. Okay, NEFT and RTGS were the only two methods used years back. NEFT was just the full form is National Electronic Fund Transfer. Okay, that is the EFT procedure, electronic fund transfer. में N आ गया, National Electronic Fund Transfer. This was done if the amount is very less. Okay, if it is a few thousands of rupees or just less than 2 lakhs, you can do NEFT. And about 2 lakhs, if it is there, you need to do an RTGS. So RTGS is real-time gross settlement. That means if I want to transfer some money to a person, but that amount of money is maybe 10 lakhs. Okay, so that big amount I need, he need immediately 10 lakhs cash from some another place. Okay, suppose he's in Mumbai. So if I am doing NEFT, he might not get cash immediately because the NEFT cycle is half an hour for the banking to settle. Now we get immediately the message that it has been debited or credited, but still the cycle is half an hour. It starts from around 8 o'clock in the morning, so 8:30 like that. But for RTGS, it is immediately. If I tell my bank I need to transfer 10 lakhs to that person, so that person's account number and IFS will be recorded, and bank will charge some fee from me for doing RTGS, and immediately that bank will be informed, and within a matter of 5 to 10 minutes, he will get the cash from that bank. So that was the process of RTGS. Okay, we are going to study this in second module. Then next is telebanking. Okay, telephone banking, mobile banking. Again, you know how the mobile banking works. Okay, so there will be an app according to that. You will be doing NEFT, RTGS, IMPS, or payment of bill, telephone bill, dish payment or any mobile recharge as well. Then purchases will include all the debit cards and credit cards and your phone pay or Google Pay, where you're going to that shop and paying, purchasing something and paying by your phone or your debit and credit cards. Then ATM machines, automatic teller machines. Okay, so this is the recent development. This okay. Anyways, this subject is not there because this will be changing a bit a lot. Okay, again, this is not that important. And then last thing is about future of banking in India: machine learning, artificial intelligence, personalized service, security, blockchain technology. Okay, uh, to sum up everything in this, okay, so there is artificial intelligence or machine learning, which is booming in this sector, in the IT sector, information technology sector. So in this, machine is being taught something, and machine learns on itself, and then it will replicate whatever it has learned into the processing. So people are not sitting there to do many things. Machine itself is doing on its own. So that is also a term called as artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is not artificial; it is the intelligence possessed by the machine, which it is happening. So, for example, in the banking, if I want to give, there is if you do internet banking or mobile banking, so internet banking, mobile banking, if you do, there are some in your app, mobile app, there will be certain things like frequently used apps or something like that. Okay, so suppose if you frequently do what do you say, a bank transfer, okay, or you frequently pay your mobile bills, mobile bills or electricity bills. So in that frequently used app, automatically those things will be reflecting, and in for everyone's phone, as per their usage, the frequently used apps will be different. So that who is doing, that is not any person who is doing, that is the machine who is doing, using its artificial intelligence. Okay, this person is generally using this kind of application, using this app. So it is a kind of a shortcut made by the machine to the person. Okay. And it will help in personalized service. If a person is generally using mutual funds, using buying mutual funds using the bank app, okay, every month he's investing. So the mutual fund will be somewhere very visible to him in frequently used app or somewhere like that. So it helps in the personalized service as well. Okay, then security is there. Okay, so levels of security, you will have a pin or you will have a thumb impression to open your bank app using a mobile, or and you will be having OTP is also part of security service. Okay, if you the bank, it should not be get transferred easily your money. Okay, so but there are lapses in this, but still security is issue is been rectified. Then next is blockchain technology. It is somewhat about Bitcoin blockchain and technology. So there will be blocks of money, okay, or blocks of transactions which will be there. Okay, you can study this. If I go this, I'll go in very detail. But okay, so some encrypted things will be done, and then some encrypted chain will be there, and it will be added, or somewhat like that. Okay, so again, not important from the exam point. Okay, I completed early because I need to revise this properly. Okay, any doubts in today's lecture, starting from banking sector reforms, banks performance analysis, banking industry analysis, and recent developments, future. Or shall I start with the revision and explain you the last lecture as well? So yeah, unmute your mic and say something. Shall I go with the revision?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, nice to hear your voices. Okay. Now pay attention. Whether you have understood this module or no, don't worry. Okay, I make sure you will understand this within half an hour. Okay, we have started and we did all this. Okay, starting from RBI, to commercial banks, to quantitative quality measures of credit control, banking sector reforms, and all this as of today. So whenever you are studying about banks, okay, you need to understand what is the central banking authority of a country is. Central banking authority, the big boss of that banks. So big boss of our banking system of India is the Reserve Bank of India. Okay, and in every major economy there is a central banking authority. So Reserve Bank is not that old. It has not yet completed 100 years. It was established in 1934 and it's started its operations in 1935. Okay, so slowly it started gaining power. But Reserve Bank of India was basically made to promote the confidence and trust of people in the banking system, because people were not at all confident about the banks, and they used to keep money, hoard gold into their houses, into their house lockers. So in order to take those savings and use it in the economy, the banks were established, and it were what do you say, distributed throughout the country. In each and every district and each and every city, there was a dream to set up a bank or a branch. So, and to promote confidence and to pull all the savings which were there lying in the lockers into the economy, into the system. So this was the reason the Reserve Bank of India was established. And also that there will be a free and fair market as well. Okay, it will take care of that. Then the main objectives of RBI was, first, just I'll give you this notes today itself after this lecture. Okay, the main objectives of RBI was to establish monetary stability. Again, I have told you in the last semester also, monetary and fiscal both. If you just type the meaning of this word, they will. The meaning of this word is money. Okay, monetary as well as fiscal. Monetary things will be taken care by the Reserve Bank of India, the RBI. The fiscal things will be taken care by the government. Okay, so both are different. So now monetary stability, the role of monetary stability, the responsibility of monetary stability of the country is with the RBI, with the business as well as the economic life of the country. The monetary stability is very important. Financial stability is also important. Financial stability is not about the fiscal. Financial stability is the security or the stability of the financial institutions, the banks and the NBFs, non-banking financial companies. Their stability is also important for the RBI. Then stable payment system. If you transfer something to someone, it should reach them. Sometimes it doesn't reach them if that money is if that money reaches someone else, then that is not a stable payment system. Or if the money continuously fails. So, many of you have said me, sir, from past 3 days I'm trying to pay 10,000, but I'm not able to. Okay, so there, if that is the case with everyone, then that is not a stable payment system. Okay, so a stable payment system is also important. The main objective of RBI is there. Then credit allocation. Credit allocation, giving loans to each and every sector of the economy and prioritizing those sectors which are important. Okay, if there is non-performing assets or the a loan which is being given to a certain kind of people, they are not repaying back, then the bank can decide we'll not give loans to them, but that will hamper the economy. So we will have to figure out some another method to recover loans from them, but we cannot stop giving loans. So proper allocation of loans, proper allocation of credit is the one of the objective to what do you say, for the economic growth. Okay, then to regulate the overall volume of currency and credit. Okay, volume of currency and credit, how to regulate it, we will do it in the quantitative and qualitative control. Okay, so the money should not be more in the economy, it should not be less in the economy. Okay, the proper flow of money should be there. Okay, so that people can use cash as well, use electronic mode as well. There should not be we will go with zero cash. With zero cash, it is very difficult if any network issue is there, any जैसे कि yesterday my mobile got switched off and I had to pay someone, so I emptied all my wallet. ठीक है, जितना भी कैश था सब कुछ देना पड़ा. ठीक है, because generally we don't carry cash because electronic payment is there. But if that system fails, if that electronic payment system is not is only closed for 1 hour, suppose, and within that 1 hour I want to make a payment, or my mobile got switched off or something like that. So there should be a balance of electronic payment as well as this cash. So volume of money should be properly flown. Then to promote the development of financial markets. Okay, financial markets are quite important because the companies who are there in big companies who are there in the economy, they will get money from the small savings of the retail investors. So how those savings will they will get through the financial markets. People will invest, buy the stocks. So when they are buying the stock, they are paying money. Okay, so that money is utilized by the companies. Okay, for their business activities. So a good financial markets help in growing these companies and in turn growing the economy. So these are the main objectives of RBI. Okay, so right. These are the main objectives of RBI, quite important. Okay. Now, after you do objectives of the RBI, we'll go to role of RBI. Okay, quite simple, not at all difficult. Role sole currency authority. Okay, all the printing of notes, anti-counterfeiting measures, changing of notes, changing the size of the notes, the governor's signature will be changing, putting the old notes to the dustbin and printing of new notes and computerizing operations, all those things is the function which the RBI does, and it acts as a banker to the government. Okay, if government is in need of money, the RBI will lend money to the government for a construction of maybe a huge project. A highway project is there, which is starting from one state and it is going across two, 3 states like that. Okay, so there is a recent highway project which is being finalized now from maybe Hyderabad to Goa. So it is passing through Karnataka. So there is a huge highway project, a huge need of money will be there. So at that time, RBI can help these governments and advise these governments as well. Okay, then next is about bankers bank or lender of the last resort. Okay, there is a small bank which is in the need of money. They don't have much capital adequacy with them to give to the depositors, and many depositors are coming in to withdraw on that day. So bank is getting panicked. Okay, from where will I get the money? It will ask another bank. It will ask its another branch or maybe its head office, or another. It will go to another bank, and it will go everywhere. Finally, it needs to go to RBI if it cannot find money from the other banks. So RBI acts as a lender of the last resort, okay, or bankers bank. Okay, as customers from the point of the retail depositors, okay, like us, we cannot open a bank account in RBI, but the banks can open bank have an bank account in RBI as well. Okay, so that's the reason CRR and SLR are kept, which is the next controller of money and credit. How it controls from the banking point of view, it keeps the CRR and SLR. And one thing I guess I have not told you, in CRR, if the bank is keeping some money with the RBI in terms of CRR, okay, then RBI will give interest on that as well. Okay, out of those 100 crores, if 3.5 crores CRR the bank is keeping with RBI, so on that 3.5 crores, RBI will give interest to the bank as well. Okay, that is an advantage, which was also a reform, part of reform of Narasimha Committee. So this is the role of RBI. Then, acha. Okay, any doubts related to RBI?
No, sir.
Okay, chalo. Next. और किधर गया? Yeah. Next is regulatory and promotional roles of RBI. ठीक है? How it regulates the volume of currency. Okay. It is a kind of a mixture in that functions and promotional roles. में. It regulates the volume of currency. ठीक है? Money should not be more, not be less in the economy. It regulates the credit. Loans are given properly to each and every sector, and proper recovery is there. Control over commercial banks. Okay, time and again, RBI gives some regulations to the commercial banks to follow. Okay, it can increase the CRR, it can increase the SLR, it can change the repo rate and reverse repo rate as well. Okay, I need to explain you this. Remind me after this. Repo and reverse repo, REPO. Okay, then determining the monetary and credit policy. Okay, uh, sorry. So, what is the credit policy the banks need to follow, or the monetary policy banks need to follow? It regulates and advises banks on this, and mobilizing savings. Okay, the savings of the household will be pulled up by the banks. It will mobilize it and use it for the economic benefit. Then institutional credit to agriculture. Okay, loans to agriculture. Specialized financial institution. Some financial institutions will be specialized, like a Diwan Housing Corporation, or this NABARD is also open for the for specific purpose. Okay, and then security to depositors again, then advisory functions to the depositors as well as to the governments. Okay, then policy support. Any kind of policy needs to be implemented by the government, then it also provides a support from them for them. Okay, okay, I don't guess any doubts will be there. The basic functions of a commercial bank. And now we have done with RBI, we are moving to commercial bank. Commercial bank mean two things: accepting deposit and lending of loans, lending of funds. Okay, lending of funds is lending of money. So in deposits, three kind of deposits are there: savings deposits, time deposits, and current deposits. It's like savings account. Okay, time deposits will be deposits kind of a fixed or recurring deposits, and current deposits, which is in the form of current accounts. Saving deposits, normal people who are earning a salary or doing a small business, and they are putting their savings into the banks. Okay, that will be termed as savings deposits. There is not much a huge transaction. There will generally be a credit at the start of the month, and there will be debits throughout the month. And again, there will be a salary credit in the start of the month. Again, debits. Okay, or sometimes there will be two or more credits in a month. That's it. Okay, so savings deposits, not huge transactions will be there. So it will be a kind of a savings account which will be making. Then another kind of deposits is time deposit. Time deposit for a particular period of time, that money will be deposited with the bank. Then after that time period elapsed, then the money can be withdrawn by the depositor. Okay, so the best example is fixed deposits and recurring deposits for these. Then current deposits, again the big businesses or the semi big also. Okay, medium scale business also opens current deposits. The transaction is very high, and also sometimes in current deposits, if you have a business I have with the bank, then they get additional facilities like overdraft facility. If they don't have money in their account, still more money can be withdrawn for the business purpose. Overdraft will be there. So it's a kind of a advance which the bank is providing. Okay, it's not a kind of a loan, it is kind of an advance which the bank is providing in current deposits. So because of this, the transaction is very high. The current deposits interest rates is very low. Sometimes it is 0 to 1 to 2%. Again, not more than that. And savings deposits, as the transaction is very less, the interest rate is very high. So from 4 to 6% somewhat, it is there. And again, time deposits, the interest rate is high generally, because people cannot withdraw that money unless that time has been elapsed, and a bank can utilize that money for their own. The next is about lending of funds. Lending of funds, banks gives two kinds of funds: loans and advances. Okay, loans are kind of for a particular period of time, for a particular reason. People will be withdrawing money from the bank, borrowing money from the bank. So that is a part of a loan. For advances, it is overdraft is also kind of advance. This discount and purchase bills are also kind of an advance. So this is generally used by the companies. If company wants to pay salary to the workers and they don't have it immediately, but they have some bills that some supplier is going to pay to them. Okay, but after 1 month, so bank need to pay salary to the workers. So the company needs to pay salary to the workers. Company can approach this bank, giving them the bill that the supply will pay you after 1 month, but give me some money. I need to pay to the salary to the workers. So bank will deduct some amount and pay the money immediately to the company. So bank will get some profit because suppose that bill is maybe of 1 crore rupees, 1 crore ka bill hai, then that company is going to the bank, taking that 1 crore bill, it is producing it to bank, and bank is giving him maybe 95 lakhs, and 5 lakhs is the profit for the bank. So that kind of discount or purchase of bill will be happening. It is a kind, and overdraft, I'll just explain. Overdraft is additional money which the the company can withdraw if they don't have money in their account, in their current deposit. Okay. The next one is sources of fund. Okay. ठीक है, sources of fund quite simple. ठीक है, चलो, cash in hand and balances with RBI. So how what do you say, the commercial bank, this is about commercial banks. Okay, sources of funds to the banks is about commercial banks. So how commercial bank will get money from? So the all the deposits or the CRR SLR which has been invested and kept with the RBI. Okay, although that is the cash in hand or the balances. Then it has money at call and short notice. Yeah, there is a market called as money market, wherein you as in bank can go in and withdraw some money for its use. So that withdraw or the borrow of that money is maybe for 1 day or overnight, or somewhere short notice is somewhere around 14 days. So and interest rate is also very low in that market. It's called as money market. It is very different from capital market, which is about equity and shares and all those things. It is very much different. Money market. There are money market mutual fund as well, but okay. So there is a market called as money market, wherein call and on short notice money is being provided to the banks. Generally, retail investors don't go into that. The next is investments. Okay, the bank which has invested money which has been received from the depositors. Okay, so return on investment is a source of fund. Then loans and advances. Okay, again, loans has been given, the bank will get the EMI from that. Okay, and advances, what the profit which they are getting from, maybe from the discounting of bills and all those things. Then fixed assets and other current assets. Okay, fixed assets with the banks. Okay, so this is the sources of fund. Okay, now this is quite important. Okay, these 1, 2, 3, 4 together, I'll explain it. Okay, are you paying attention? Because I need your attention for at least for this.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So there are 4 things in this. Okay, quantitative measures of credit control. This is about RBI controlling the credit in the economy. Okay, I was thinking how to explain you. If suppose, wait, open a new one. Okay, this is our x-axis. This is our y-axis. Now, in maybe 4th module in the last semester, you have seen like this a graph. Okay, this axis is the time axis. Okay, this is as per the time, and this axis is the basically the economic axis for the economy, where the economy is going up, it is going down, it is going up, it is going down. Okay, so if the economy is like this, I say it is very much fluctuating, or economy can be like this. Okay, I'll term this as A, B, and C. Okay, anyone tell me which one is good? Which kind of economy is good? A, B, or C? Least fluctuating economy, moderately fluctuating economy, or highly volatile economy? Good in the terms of general people.
It's a moderate.
A, sir.
Yeah, yeah, maybe A or maximum moderate. Definitely not C. So, how this economy can be maintained, okay, and how this stability can be achieved, that is basically the role which the RBI is playing using these methods, these all methods, using quantitative measures and using credit. And so the best economy will be A. And okay, so the real economy should be like this. It should be growing and with low fluctuations. Okay, so this is the best kind of economy. So economy is here, it is stable. Okay, it is going down, up. Here also it is going down and up, but it is, the net effect is it is growing. So this is the best kind of economy. Now, I need to, what you said, it is called as a scientific word, dampen the effect. Okay, I want to dampen the effect. Okay, see, the economy is going like this. So during this time, what RBI will think, the economy is going up. That means if the economy goes up, the inflation will increase, the price of the products will increase because there will be limited products and there will be more demand for the product. So the price of the product will start increasing. So the people will start demanding more salary because they cannot buy the essential goods. Okay, they cannot buy the luxury goods. Forget about luxury goods. And it is very difficult for them to buy essential goods as well. So RBI will try to reduce this price, reduce the economy, reduce this high fluctuation. So it wants the economy to go like this for a certain period of time, not totally, but for a certain period of time, the economy should not grow much. So this is the curtailment of the growth in the prices or curtailment in the what do you say, the taking of loans from the bank. So how it does this? If economy is growing, then RBI will make the borrowing in the economy. What do you say? It will discourage the borrowing in the economy. That means if economy is growing, people are borrowing money, starting their businesses. There are many people borrowing money and starting their businesses. Economy is growing. Okay, so people are flourishing. So during this time, economy is going high, inflation is going high. RBI wants to curtail this. How RBI curtails this? It will discourage the loan process. It will discourage. It will increase the interest rate. It will. Okay. It will increase the open market operations. It will do all these things to curtail the economy. Okay, so one first thing is to curtail the, okay. Okay, after this, suppose the economy has been curtailed. How? I'll tell you. Okay, economy is curtailed and it is going down again. So during this time, RBI will think to increase the economy. So it wants the economy to go like this now, like this. Initially, during this time, it wanted economy to go down. Now it wanted economy to go up. Economy as in prices and inflation, everything. Okay, now it wanted to go up. So during this time, RBI will encourage lending. It will tell banks to lend to people. It will give a target. Nee, nee, you have to provide loans. You have to provide credit cards. You tell people to spend. We will reduce the interest rate, do whatever, but we want to pump money in the economy. पैसे देना है लोगों के पास in order to spend. So this things keep on happening so that upward movement should be reduced and lower movement should be reduced. So the economy should go like this, or best one is this. So how does it do it? That has been explained in this quantitative measures. Okay, first one, bank rate policy. Okay, I'll come here and explain. First one I'm explaining, which is bank rate policy. Bank rate policy is the rate of interest which the bank is giving money to the borrowers. At what rate of interest it is giving, that is the bank rate policy. So when the economy is going up like this, RBI will discourage the loan process by increasing the interest rates. RBI will tell all the banks, you need to increase the interest rates and discourage the giving of loans to the public, so that our economy will dampen now. So whoever is doing business on their own using their core money or the what do you say, the greenfield projects. Okay, whoever is doing the business with their money, let them do, but we will not issue fresh loans in this case, or we will discourage the loan process by raising interest rates, so that people will borrow less, they will do less business, and they'll spend more, so the inflation is under control. So bank will RBI will increase the interest rate. During this time, what the bank will RBI will do? It will reduce the interest rates in order that the people will take more money and do uh, more business, and do more shopping, and the consumerization should happen, because the economy is going down. Okay, here going down, it will do here, and it wants the economy to go up like this. Again, when the economy is going up, it will again try to increase the interest rate. Again, when economy is going like this down, it will reduce the interest rate. So this process keeps on happening. So RBI will fluctuate this bank rate in order to keep the dampening effect, to reduce the volatility in the prices, volatility in the economy. So this is how it controls using bank rates. Okay, increase in the market interest rate, decrease in the market interest rate. Okay, so doubts I'll take it later. Okay. Then open market operations. Okay, open market operations also do this. Okay, I'm explaining the second one. Okay, I need to explain you. Okay. In open market operations, it uses the bills, the treasury bills, which is being floated by the government. Okay. Now there is forget what it is. There is some kind of instrument, financial instrument. Okay, there are n instruments are there. Okay, so these instruments are liquid funds. So if you sell this, you will get money. Okay, each instruments may be costing maybe around, if I have a dollar, maybe around 1 lakh of rupees every instrument. So there are maybe 100 instruments, 100 lakhs, that is 1 crore of rupees. So these are the instrument which is there in the economy. Now, this is with the people. This man has this instruments. He doesn't have any money, but he has this money. Yeah, he has this liquid instruments. Now, RBI wants to maybe increase the economy. Okay, increase the prices in the economy. RBI wants to give people money in order to spend. Now, this person is having all these instruments, okay, which is liquid, but it is not money, so he cannot spend these instruments for buying his car or home. Okay, एक instrument है. So RBI can offer him, we will buy this investments, all your investments from not with 1 lakh rupees, we will give you 1 lakh 10,000 for every instrument. So he will be very happy. Okay, for every instrument which is the value of that instrument is 1 lakh, I am getting 1.1 lakhs. Okay, so he'll be very happy. He will sell all this to RBI. He will sell all this to RBI, and RBI will give him maybe 1.1. So somewhere around कितना हो गया? 1 crore something. ठीक है, चलो. He will RBI will give him money, and he will go out and spend that money. And he will go out and buy cars. He will go out and buy maybe some. He will go out for entertainment. He will go for tourism, and he will spend money, and that money will be distributed to many people in the economy. So the economy will grow. Tourism will increase. The consumerization will increase. Automobile sector will be very happy as he's buying cars. So people like him will be spending money. So when people like him start to spend money, the economy will go up. Okay. Similarly, the reverse, if the economy is going to ऊपर जा रहा है, then RBI wants to reduce the economy again. So what RBI will do, they will catch hold of this kind of people. They will tell them, now you buy certificate and pay us money. Now RBI will not give the certificate in 1 lakh, it will give them at maybe 80,000 rupees. So this person again will be happy. Okay, the instrument which is costing 1 lakh, I'm getting it in 80,000 rupees. So again he will buy that. and cash will go with RBI. So again, he will start spending less because he don't have any cash. He has this instruments, so he will start spending less. So again, RBI will take care of this using open market operations. Okay, so whenever RBI wants to buy this thing, they will buy at a higher cost, and whenever they want to sell, they will sell at a lower cost, so that the investor will be happy in all the cases. This is how it controls the economy using open market operations. Okay, so this was the two main things. Then I'll do the third and fourth, and I'll go for doubts. Then cash reserve ratio and SLR, statutory liquidity rate. Okay, how this is done? This is if you understood this open market, CRR and SLR will be very easy. Again, I'll go with 100 crores. Okay, out of this 100 crores, I've told you 25 crores is for CRR and SLR, which is kept with the RBI. Okay, 100 crores. Whose 100 crores is with? It is the people, banks 100 crores who have got this from the depositors. Out of this, 25 crores with the RBI. Remaining 75 crores, they can use it for their business. Okay, so 75 crores is in use in business for the bank. Now this, I'm gonna go. I'll draw once again here. Okay, now again, the economy is going up. Okay, people are taking loans from the 75 crores. This bank is giving loans to the public. Now, RBI doesn't want this bank to give loans. Okay, either it can increase the interest rate, or it can use open market operations. Or third one is it can increase the CRR from maybe 3.5 somewhere we have found. It might increase to 5%, and SLR also it can increase to some. So the new one will be maybe 30 crores and 70 crores. Now the bank has less money to give loans, so bank will be demotivated. This has been increased. Demotivated as in they'll have less money for their business purposes. So then, as they'll have less money, all the banks will have less money. So they'll slowly decrease the loans which they were giving, and slowly decrease the investments as well in the economy. So investments have been reduced, loans have been reduced, the credits have been reduced. So the consumerization will go down. The businesses will not increase rapidly using the loan amount. They will increase on their own. Okay, so the economy will be under control here. It will be under control. And again, if the economy is going like this, RBI wants to increase it like this, then during this time, it will reduce this new amount. It will reduce CRR to and SLR to 20 crores, and 80 crores will be given to bank for lending and investment purposes. So if as bank will have more money now, suddenly from 70 to 80, so banks will be happy and they will start giving all the banks. Okay, I'm talking about all the banks. So 10 crore increase or around 10% increase is there. So more than 10% increase, banks will be very happy. All the banks in the country. So they will start investing. They'll start giving out loans. So this is how using SLR and CRR they can control the economy or the credit flow in the economy. Okay, so this
So,
together I've done. Yeah, tell me.
so why RBI wants to decrease the rates?
In order to
Means
maintain the economy. Which rates? Bank rates you're talking, right?
yes, sir, bank rates.
RBI want to control the economy. For example, latest I'll give you. See, in 2010 and 11, the economy was increasing very rapidly. Okay, there was inflation in the economy. The volume of currency was also very high. So during that time, because of this inflation, RBI wanted to curtail the economy, because if the inflation keeps on going up, there will be certain section of people, there is certain section of poor people who will face the heat of that. Because as inflation increases, price of products increases, the basic necessity of what do you say, the onion, potato, tomato, prices of these also increases. Okay, so it should not happen that economy is going too high, very fast. So that's why RBI increases the interest rates, increases the bank rate, so that it will what do you say, discourage people from spending, from taking loans and spending, discourage the investments. Okay, so people will, as per RBI, as per the RBI's analogy, if people will take less loans, there will be less money in the economy. Okay, basically what, okay, you understood this or shall I explain more?
Yes, understood.
Okay, just it is that कि RBI wants to curtail the process of borrowing. RBI doesn't want people to borrow because the economy should not go very high very fast, so that inflation should not increase. And the reverse way is, if like in today's situation, okay, there is money with the banks. Okay, after demonetization there was too much money in the banks. So, and with that too much money, bank need to give that too much interest rate to the depositors. So what, how will they will give the interest rate to the depositors? They will, they should get interest from the people who they will be giving loans. So the people who have received loans from the bank, they will give the interest to the bank, and in turn bank will give interest to the depositors. So bank need to increase the people who will buy a loan from the bank, borrow money from the bank. So they want to increase this. So in this time of pandemic, as many businesses are not doing well and many businesses have been closed down and people are not spending money, so in this case RBI will increase, or should decrease the bank rate, so that people will be encouraged to borrow loans and to do business. Okay, so it do these fluctuations time and again. Okay, and basically what is interest, like, okay, कैसे है कि suppose this is maybe 10 trillion crores. Okay, 10 trillion crores is the economy, is the what do you say, the cash available in any country. Okay, so 10 trillion crores में से, if you are giving loans, okay, and you are putting interest on that, so from that 10 trillion crores, suppose entire thing you are giving on loan, so you will get maybe 10.5 trillion, suppose 10.5 trillion crores in a matter of 5 years. Okay, so the entire economy सबके पास में मिला के we only have 10 trillion crores. And if we are giving that entire 10 trillion crores in the form of loan, we should get 10.5 trillion crore. 10.5 we don't have it now. No one has it. अभी पैसा ही नहीं है, पूरे सबको मिला के we only have 10. We don't have 10.5. But we need to make that 10 to 10.5 in order to sustain. If we cannot make it to 10.5, then our entire banking system will fail. So this is what the interest is. So we don't need this 10 to grow very high, so that ये 11 हो जाए. So after 5 years, if we don't reach this 11 trillion crores, we will fail. Okay, this is somewhat different, totally against your syllabus. Okay, forget this if you don't understand. So any more doubts? This was perfect doubt. Okay, appreciated. इसमें कुछ भी डाउट है, समझा नहीं समझा, because this will definitely come in exam. No, shall I go to this qualitative measures? Oh, it is already 11:15. अरे टाइम हो गया ना. ठीक है, चलो I'll explain this and explain this and I'll stop because हाँ यही last है ना. ठीक है, margin requirements. After this, give me 5. Just give me 5 more minutes. Margin requirements is the if a person is taking loan from the bank, okay, for a car loan, and that car is costing around 5 lakh rupees. So that person needs to give money to that car seller as well, and the bank will give the money to the car seller as well. So how much money that person needs to give, that is about the margin requirement. Class. Okay, suppose the car is 5 lakh of rupees. Bank will tell, okay, we'll give 4 lakh rupees for your car. You need to give a down payment of rupees 1 lakh. So that 1 lakh is the margin. Okay, which is how much it is? 20%. Okay, so 20% the person should pay, and remaining 80% the bank will pay. So what is that? This margin requirement, that is important. Suppose RBI reduces this margin requirement in order to again boost up the economy. RBI will tell no, bank will give 95% of this, and the person will the margin from that person is only 5, so that he will be very much encouraged to buy something, okay, on loans. Or RBI can increase the margin as well. RBI will say will not give 80%, will give only 50%. So 5 lakh cars ka 2 lakh 50,000 will be the loan provided by the bank, and 2 lakh 50,000 that person needs to pay. So he will be discouraged. Anyways 50% money I am only paying for this car. So why should I take a loan? Like, I'll wait for some more time to reduce so that this margin might be reduced. ऐसे करके. And consumer credit control will be there. Okay, the banks which are providing loans, RBI will keep a control on that. No, you cannot give much loans, or you will need to give these documents, or this collateral will be a very high or something like that. They will try to reduce the process of loans, or they can increase it. And guideline from the central bank. Okay, certain kind of people will not qualify for loans if they are not fitting into that. Okay. Then rationing of credit. The credit will be allocated to certain kind of sectors only. Certain kind of sectors will not be allocated, or will be allocated less. And moral suasion. Moral suasion is RBI will tell as per your nationality, or for the India के लिए करो, या फिर something like that, or people. Maybe certain kind of people will not pay back, or certain kind of people, people are there under the judicial inquiry or something like that. So don't help those people in terms of financial loans and all those things. Okay, like moral suasion, moral values, just something like moral suasion for the banks. And direct action can be taken by the RBI. Okay, no, stop the loans, or directly they'll issue some guidelines. Okay, something like that will be done by qualitative. But this is quite important, quantitative. Okay, this is about qualitative. Okay, last thing, 1 more minute I need to explain. Acha, any doubts in this? No. Okay. Okay, just last 1 minute you give me. I'll just explain you what is repo and reverse repo. अच्छा, इधर ही जाके I'll explain you. ठीक है, RBI website. This is the policy rate, margin. Okay, margin rate, which are margin requirement is this bank rate. Okay, CRR 3%. If you come again, CRR 3%, SLR 18%. Okay, then exchange lending rate. See this base rate. MLCR is overnight is this notice money and call and notice money, which I was telling. Savings deposit rate. Term deposit if it is less than 1 year. So this is what the range has been given, and bank can follow anything within this range. So it is deregulated. It cannot tell only only you need to give 5.5 to everyone like that. Okay. Chalo. Last thing is about repo and reverse repo. Okay. This word is very fancy, but it is very simple. That if bank is in need of money, bankers bank jaisa hai RBI. If bank is in need of money, it will borrow money from RBI. Okay, so that money, borrowing money, the interest rate which the RBI will put to the bank, this is called as a repo rate. Okay, again I'll tell you, if a Kotak Mahindra Bank, it wants to borrow money from RBI because it is in need of money, because of some reason. It is borrowing money from RBI. It will borrow the money on the interest rate of 4%. That is called as the repo rate. Reverse repo rate. Suppose RBI is in need of money and it is asking any banks, okay, do you have money? I am in need of money. RBI is asking. Ulta hai. RBI is asking money from bank. So RBI will take money from bank, will borrow money from bank using this rate, 3.35, which is reverse repo rate. Definitely this will always be lower because RBI is the thing which will be deciding. So reverse repo rate will be 99, 100, 101%. This will be less. Repo rate will be high. Repo rate is the rate at which bank borrow money from RBI. Reverse repo rate is the rate at which RBI borrow money from bank. So this is there. This is the kind of a general knowledge for an MBA student, these rates. Okay, so shall I close the session?
Sir.
हाँ बोलो.
सर वो जब लोन लेते ना तभी रेपो रेट का क्या काम होता है, मतलब जब नॉर्मल पर्सन जब लोन लेता है तो
नॉर्मल क्या लोन ले वन सेकेंड
सर
नहीं
जब
समझा.
सर जब हम लोन लेते हैं ना तब
हम्म.
उसमें रेपो रेट का क्या ये होता है, पार्ट होता है?
नहीं, कुछ पार्ट नहीं होता है. रेपो रेट एंड रिवर्स रेपो रेट इज ओनली फॉर आरबीआई एंड विद बैंक. वो कस्टमर्स इन्वॉल्व ही नहीं होते उसमें, रेपो रेट और रिवर्स रेपो रेट में. फॉर दैट मैटर कॉल मनी, नोटिस मनी, इसमें भी कस्टमर्स इन्वॉल्व नहीं होते, कुछ भी नहीं.
सर वैसे कुछ चार्ज नहीं करते ना ये?
नहीं नहीं नहीं, रेपो रेट रिवर्स रेपो रेट नोवेयर कंसर्न विद द कस्टमर्स.
ओके.
ठीक है, इट इज ओनली फॉर हाई लेवल ट्रांजैक्शंस. जैसे गवर्नमेंट इज बोरिंग, सपोज गवर्नमेंट इज बोरिंग फ्रॉम आरबीआई. ठीक है, इकोनॉमी डाउन जा रहा है, गवर्नमेंट इज बोरिंग फ्रॉम आरबीआई, इट विल नो वेयर इफेक्ट अस एज द कस्टमर्स ऑफ द बैंक.
ओके.
ठीक है. हाँ, ये दिस थिंग एटलीस्ट यू शुड नो व्हाट इज दिस. ये परसेंटेज जाने दो. एटलीस्ट यू शुड नो व्हाट इज रेपो रेट, रिवर्स रेपो रेट, व्हाट इज मार्जिन, व्हाट इज बैंक रेट, एंड मोर इम्पोर्टेंटली मार्केटिंग. अमेजोन का इंटरव्यू था, किसका था शायद से, किसका तो था, करिश्मा किसका तो था. दे आस्क्ड हर व्हाट इज सीआरआर, व्हाट इज एसएलआर. यू आर अ फाइनेंस मार्केटिंग स्टूडेंट, what do you mean by this? Just give the full form of this if you don't know the percentage. So it is kind of a general knowledge for a finance student. इसके लिए ये मैं स्ट्रेस किया इधर थोड़ा. ओके, एनी मोर थिंग?
नो सर.
ठीक है, shall I close the session? And sorry I took a long time. 1.5 hour का सेशन हो गया.
Hello, sir.
हाँ, क्या प्रश्न?
Is there any other sources that banks can earn apart from providing loans, sir?
Source of money?
Yes, sir. That banks can earn apart from providing loans, sir.
Apart from providing, their main thing is providing loans itself. Main source of income with the interest is itself interest only. But apart from that, only bank can do an investments. And SLR is a part of investment, and other than SLR also, bank can do an investment. They can buy a land, or they can do a normal investment, but they cannot do any other business. Okay, suppose bank is entering into maybe manufacturing of some FMCG products or something like that. That they cannot do. They can only do investments. That's it.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
ठीक है, shall I close?
Okay, sir.
हाँ, okay, चलो.
Yes, so, sir.
Okay,
Sir?
thank you for listening.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, हाँ दीपिका बोल.
Sir, if both have a shortage of money, then RBI will print the notes.
No, ऐसा नहीं होता है. RBI cannot print the notes. RBI can only print the notes depending upon its what do you say, the currency where it is standing. मतलब what is the value of rupee in terms of pound, dollar, yen, and euro. Only using that they can print the money. They cannot just print the money. If they print the money, then the value of money will go down. जैसे 70 rupees a dollar है. Okay, and if they print the money, the volume of money will increase in the economy. Then 70 rupees dollar से 80 rupees dollar हो जाएगा. The value of our money will go down in terms of international market. So they cannot print money. If they don't have money, they will arrange it from some other bank or somewhere. But RBI generally have a huge amount of cash reserve with them. Not unlike other banks. ठीक है, banks के पास में कैसे है, they want to get profit. RBI doesn't work for getting profit. It is a statutory company. ठीक है, it doesn't want to get profit. It is mainly for stability of the economy. So वो लोग खर्चा नहीं करते पैसा basically. So they keep the, and any country who borrows, any government who borrows too much money from RBI and spends it, and the cash reserve of RBI goes down, then that country is in very great difficulty in terms of economy. Venezuela का एक example है. Venezuela was a is a country somewhere in the mid in the southern side of Europe, Venezuela बोल के country. That government started borrowing or withdrawing money from its central bank, and in the end, central bank itself got what do you say, bankrupt. So they started printing money. So as they were printing money, cost of one small thing was in thousands. Suppose एक bread हम लोग के इधर अभी 20 या 25 रुपीज में मिलता है. Okay, suppose if RBI keeps on printing money, that bread we will be getting it at 200 or 300 rupees. एक bread ऐसा. So ऐसा value, if it will decrease, the value of money will not be there. Products बहुत सारे रहेंगे, but the cost of product will go very high. So it cannot print money. It has to keep reserves with them.
Okay, sir.
सर सर फिर वो गवर्नमेंट फॉरेन गवर्नमेंट की कैसे रहता है, उसका क्या है?
क्या फॉरेन गवर्नमेंट?
तो वैसे न्यूज में पहले आया था ना कि इंडिया ने इतना लोन बना रखा है.
अच्छा, बोरो करते हैं फॉरेन गवर्नमेंट से.
यस.
हाँ, वो
तो फिर वो आरबीआई यूज क्यों होते?
नहीं, वो आरबीआई नहीं करता बेसिकली बोरो, गवर्नमेंट ही करता है. एंड इट इज अ पार्ट ऑफ फिस्कल पॉलिसी, इट इज नॉट पार्ट ऑफ मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी. ठीक है, इफ गवर्नमेंट इज विड्रॉइंग, गवर्नमेंट ओनली नीड्स टू गिव इट बैक. It is not the headache of RBI basically, but वैसे तो RBI takes headache for that as well, but RBI doesn't borrow that money. Government borrows that money, okay, and government needs to pay it back in the course of time. And one thing, अभी इतना बैंकिंग मैंने पढ़ा है ना, विदाउट थिंकिंग, अभी तुम लोग यंग माइंड्स है, विदाउट थिंकिंग एंड विदाउट एनी नीड ऑफ मनी, इफ यू टेक लोन, it is not good basically, because if 1991 maybe India has taken loan from World Bank, ठीक है, but they need to pay a lot of interest on that, because the what do you say, रिपल इफेक्ट जैसा रहता है, बिकॉज ये है ना, कंपाउंड इंटरेस्ट रेट है, इंटरेस्ट ऑन इंटरेस्ट, इंटरेस्ट ऑन इंटरेस्ट बढ़ के द ओरिजिनल अमाउंट इज वेरी लेस एंड द इंटरेस्ट अमाउंट इज वेरी हाई, ऐसा हो जाता है. So as far as Abhishek, why you are presenting? So as far as avoid taking loans much, ठीक है, if it is not in need, if you are not in need, ऐसा है. ठीक है, चलो चलो, I'll stop it. ठीक है, any more if you have any doubts, you can contact me later on. Already 1.5 hour हो गया. ठीक है, चलो then, see ya.
Bye, sir.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
sir. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Bye, sir.
Bye.
हेलो 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 हेलो
ಏನಾತ್ಲೆ
ಮುಗಿದೈತ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್
ಮುಗ್ದೈತದ ಅವಾಗ ಲೆಫ್ಟ್ ಯಾಕೆ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ನೀ ಚಾಲೂ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೇನೆ
ನಾ ಬಾಂಡೆ ತಿಕ್ಕಾತೀನಿ
ಶಬ್ಬಾಷ್
ನೀ ಎದಕ್ ಲೆಫ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ
ನಾ ಪೇಂಟರ್ ಗೋಳಿ ಮಾಡಿ ನಿಂತೀನಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಲಕ್ಷ ಐತಿ ಈ ಕಡೆ ನೋಡೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ನಾ
ಪೇಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಸತೈತೆ ನಾ
ಮಾಡಿದಿ ಪಿ ಪಿ ಟಿ
ಇಲ್ಲ ಇನ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲ
ಯಾವಾಗ ಮಾಡ್ತಿ ಸೋಮವಾರ ನಂದ ಪೈಲ ಆಯ್ತಪ್ಪ ಹಾ
ಆಮೇಲೆ ಸಂಜೆ ಅದು
ಕಾಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇಂಗಪ್ಪನ